أكبر الله أكبر.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to the series of Friday sermon discussions on the Friday sermons delivered by Hazrat Ameerul Momineen Aziz. In light of the holy month of Ramadan starting earlier this week, Huzoor Aziz mentioned the duty of Muslims is not only to fast in the month of Ramadan, but to try and attain righteousness. Now over to Fatih Tahi Saab, who will give us some further insight into this sermon.
Jazakallah Qasim, brother. So yesterday Huzoor's sermon was a very profound sermon, of course, as all of his sermons are. And this was in relation to Ramadan and the philosophy and the essence and the importance of prayer. And Huzoor mentions lots of different aspects of prayer, but especially how to have prayers accepted and what are the different requirements of prayers and why some prayers aren't accepted. And Huzoor actually in the beginning said that Ramadan isn't just a month, which comes in our life and just passes by. And Huzoor said that in actual fact, we should be very, very grateful that we are seeing the months of Ramadan and are able to experience Ramadan. But the essence is that we grow in closeness to Allah, in nearness to Allah. It's a booster month where we can really, really excel on the ladder of spirituality. And then Huzoor talks about how one can pray and the different elements of praying as well. So for example, Huzoor says, and this is something which the Promised Messiah ﷺ said, is that someone asks, how do we know that we've been forgiven or our prayers have been accepted? And the answer to that is that if someone is consistently staying away from bad deeds and they're doing good deeds as well, then such a person can understand that God is happy with them and he is listening to their prayers and he is answering their forgiveness, i.e. he's forgiving them. So this is a common question. How do we know we've been forgiven? We've been praying. If there's been a change in your life where you're now beginning to go away from bad deeds and your life has changed for the better, then know that Allah's forgiven. Then there's so many different other aspects which Huzoor spoke about. Huzoor said that lots of occasions we pray, and of course Huzoor did this sermon all in the light of the writings of the Promised Messiah ﷺ, which of course are an elaboration of the Holy Quran and the sayings of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Some people ask, why is it that some of our prayers are accepted and others are not? And to this, the Promised Messiah ﷺ gave a very, very good and simple explanation. And it's something which we've probably heard a lot of times, but it's something which we should recall a lot as well, is that just like a mother or a father or a parents keeps their children away from certain things, and we as adults, we know that if a child wants to put their hand in fire because it looks cool and it looks, it's shining and it's something different, but a mother would never let her child put their hand in the fire. In the same way, when we're praying, sometimes we think that this prayer is a really good prayer and it's something which will benefit us and it's something which we will enjoy. But Allah, being our parent and who knows us more than anyone else, stops that prayer. He doesn't listen to that prayer as we want it to be listened to. But by not listening to the prayer, Allah is actually listening to the prayer. He's answering our prayer by protecting us from that certain thing because it's not good for us, and that's what He knows. Another aspect which Huzoor spoke about is that one should remember that just simply praying, uttering words, is not the essence of prayer. It's not the essence of Islam, and it's got nothing to do with Islam. Islam isn't just about mere words. Rather, you have to change yourself, as always said, spiritually. We have to begin to do good works. We have to really, really put in the effort to do the mujahidah, the effort of staying away from bad deeds. And then when we've created that transformation within ourselves, then can we expect our prayers to be accepted as well. But if we're not listening to Allah, if we're not, living a life which is carefree, which is away from Islamic teachings, then how can anyone expect for their prayers to be accepted? It's injustice anyway. So we have to first take the step towards Allah, and then Allah will come towards us as well, as it's mentioned in the hadith as well. And there's so many different aspects which Hazur spoke about. He spoke about the attributes of Ar-Rahman and Rahim. Hazur spoke about towards the end of the sermon, which was something which also on social media was retweeted a lot and quoted a lot. And it's a very, very beautiful teaching, where Hazur said that in Ramadan, we shouldn't just be praying for ourselves, but we should be praying for others as well. And Hazur said that the benefit of this is that it's mentioned that those people who pray for others, angels pray for that person in return. And if angels are praying for someone, then what better transaction do you want? So this is how Hazur ended the sermon as well. And Hazur again reiterated for all Ahmadis around the world to pray for our brothers and sisters who are going through tremendous suffering, mental torture, physical torture, lack of freedom to, even express themselves as Ahmadi Muslims in countries like Pakistan, in countries like Algeria, where so many Ahmadi Muslims are being persecuted, being put in jail, and they don't have the freedom which we have in the West, not even close. So Huzoor has been actually reminding all Ahmadis across the world to pray for Ahmadis in Pakistan and in Algeria in particular, so that Allah enables them to practice their religion freely and for all their suffering to go away. And this is something which Huzoor has been continuously doing now throughout, everyone who's been watching the show will know that Huzoor's been continuously asking for prayers from all Ahmadis, for the Ahmadis in Pakistan, for the Ahmadis in Algeria, because they're suffering tremendously. And also just, from our point of view, it's really, we've grown up in the UK, and it's, very hard to maybe understand and fathom what they're going through. We've grown up as Ahmadi Muslims in the UK, and going to the masjid, calling ourselves Ahmadis, reciting the Quran pledge, it's all normal. We can't ever imagine that we wouldn't be allowed to do this. However, our other Ahmadi brothers and sisters, they can't imagine doing this. Since they've been born, since their childhood, they don't experience the freedoms which we experience. That's why it's so important, as Huzoor said, in the month of Ramadan, to pray for all these Ahmadis as well. And like Huzoor said, when we're praying for other people, then the angels will be praying for us. And what better transaction do we want? And of course, this is just a summary, like we say on the show. And it's very important that all our Khudan brothers, they go back to the sermon, especially this sermon. It's about how to have prayers accepted. And lots of people ask, why aren't my prayers being accepted, or how can I have my prayers accepted? So this is a profound sermon. 1 hour, you listen to it and you get so many different avenues and tips and insights into how to gain closeness to Allah and have our prayers accepted as well. And then also learn maybe where we're going wrong, because there's so many things which Huzoor mentioned in the sermon, which spoke about where people go wrong in terms of praying, and fundamental issues that they're actually the wrong path they're taking, and due to that wrong path, their prayers aren't being accepted. So it's a profound sermon, and highly, of course, like all sermons, recommend for all Khudan brothers to go revisit it, and you'll really, really get some insights into the philosophy of prayer and how to have our prayers accepted.
Inshallah. To end this discussion program, we will show you an extract of the sermon delivered by Hazrat Ameerul Momineen.
ये चंद बातें मैंने इस अजीम ख़ज़ाने से पेश की हैं जो हज़रत अक़दस मसीह मौऊद अलैहिस्सलाम ने हमें अता फरमाया, जिससे दुआ की अहमियत, हिकमत, दुआएं मांगने का तरीक़, उसकी फ़िलासफ़ी सब पर कुछ न कुछ रोशनी पड़ती है। अगर हम इसको समझने वाले हों तो हम अपनी ज़िंदगियों में एक इनकलाब पैदा कर सकते हैं, खुदा ताला से ताल्लुक़ में एक ख़ास कैफियत पैदा कर सकते हैं। اللہ تعالیٰ کے فضل کو جذب کرنے والے بن سکتے ہیں. بس ہمیں اس رمضان میں کوشش کرنی چاہیے کہ ہم اللہ تعالیٰ کے قرب کو پانے کے لیے اس کے حکموں پر چلنے والے ہوں، اپنے ایمانوں کو مضبوط کرتے چلے جانے والے ہوں، دعا کی حکمت اور فلسفی کو سمجھنے والے ہوں، اپنے اعمال کی اصلاح کرنے والے بنیں، اور ان لوگوں میں شامل ہوں جن کی دعائیں اللہ تعالیٰ کے حضور مقبول ہوتی ہیں. یہ رمضان ہمارے اللہ تعالیٰ سے تعلق اور روحانی تعلق میں یا روحانی حالت میں ایک انقلاب پیدا کرنے والا ہو. اپنے بھائیوں کے لیے بھی دعائیں کریں. پہلے میں دعاؤں کے لیے تحریک کرتا رہتا ہوں جو پاکستان میں ہے یا الجزائر میں ہے یا کسی بھی جگہ میں ہے جو کسی بھی طرح کسی خاص طور پہ جماعتی مشکلات میں گرفتار ہیں. پاکستان میں تو روزانہ کوئی نہ کوئی واقعہ ہو جاتا ہے جہاں احمدیوں کو تکلیفیں دی جاتی ہیں کسی نہ کسی رنگ میں. اس لیے خاص طور پہ دعائیں کرنی چاہیے ان کے لیے. اس طرح الجزائر میں بھی شاید دوبارہ ان کے کیس کھولنے کے ارادے ہیں. اللہ تعالیٰ ان کو بھی محفوظ رکھے. دوسروں کے لیے دعائیں کرنے سے بھی اپنی دعائیں قبول ہوتی ہیں. یہ نسخہ ہمیشہ یاد رکھنا چاہیے. بلکہ دوسروں کے لیے دعائیں کرنے والے کے لیے فرشتے دعائیں کرتے ہیں، اور فرشتوں کی دعائیں جب ہو رہی ہوں تو کس قدر فائدہ مند ہوتا ہے یہ. بس ہمیں خاص طور پہ دوسروں کے لیے بھی دعائیں بہت زیادہ کرنی چاہیے، صرف اپنے لیے نہیں. اللہ تعالیٰ ہمیں اس کی بھی اس رمضان میں خاص طور پر توفیق عطا فرمائے.